The 1973 Cutlass Supreme. Why it still turns heads today. In the vast and vibrant world of classic American muscle cars, there are the usual suspects: Camaro, Mustang, Charger, names that immediately evoke a sense of power and performance. But every car enthusiast knows that the real gems are sometimes the ones just off the beaten path. Enter the 1973 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. At first glance, it might not scream for attention the way some of its muscle-bound cousins do, but don't be fooled. This car has a story, a soul, and a style that demands a second look. With its perfect mix of elegance and aggression, the 73 Cutlass Supreme is the kind of ride that surprises you in all the right ways. It's not just a car, it's a presence, one that still turns heads today just as it did over 50 years ago. When you think about what makes a car iconic, it's rarely just one thing. It's a perfect storm of styling, performance, attitude, and cultural relevance. The 1973 Cutlass Supreme checks all those boxes with confident ease. This was the first year of GM's Colonnade body style, a bold move away from the hardtop coupes of the late 60s and early 70s. That change alone made the Cutlass Supreme feel new, even revolutionary. The rooflines were more sculpted, the frame stronger, the ride quieter, and the overall silhouette sleeker and more sophisticated. While some purists were initially skeptical of the shift, time has proven that the 1973 Cutlass was ahead of the curve in terms of design and presence. From the outside, the Cutlass Supreme had a commanding aura. It was long, wide, and low, with smooth curves and sharp creases that gave it a modern yet muscular feel. The massive front grille, bordered by stacked rectangular headlights and flanked by chrome accents, announced your arrival with authority. The front bumper was integrated into the body in a way that made the car look polished and put together, while still retaining that raw 70s muscle vibe. The rear of the car was just as confident, with slim, horizontal taillights and a sculpted deck lid that completed its powerful stance. Whether cruising the boulevard or parked at a local car meet, the 73 Cutlass Supreme looked like it belonged in a showroom, and maybe even on a movie screen. Slide inside, and the experience becomes even more impressive. The interior of the 1973 Cutlass Supreme was a masterclass in comfort and class. Oldsmobile didn't just want you to drive this car, they wanted you to enjoy it. Plush bucket seats, forward trim, a padded dashboard, and chrome accents made the cabin feel more like a luxury lounge than a muscle car cockpit. And with optional features like power windows, air conditioning, an AM/FM stereo, and tilt steering, the Supreme felt ahead of its time. This was a vehicle built for drivers who wanted both power and polish, muscle and manners. But let's not forget what lies under the hood. That's where this car truly earns its muscle badge. The 1973 Cutlass Supreme came with several engine options, the most popular being the Rocket 350 V8, an engine known for its reliability and punchy performance. Producing around 180 horsepower and 275 lb-ft of torque, it wasn't the fastest car on the street, but it had more than enough muscle to hold its own in a straight line. And for those who wanted even more thrill, the available 455 cubic inch V8 could push the experience to a whole new level, delivering up to 250 horsepower and making this refined ride a real contender. Combined with a smooth shifting 3-speed automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, the driving experience was both exhilarating and easygoing. On the road, the 73 Cutlass Supreme offered a ride that was ahead of its time in terms of comfort and control. The fully boxed perimeter frame and coil spring suspension system soaked up bumps and road imperfections like a luxury cruiser, while the power-assisted steering gave it an agile and confident feel. It wasn't just a car that looked good standing still, it moved with grace and authority. Whether rolling down Main Street or gliding across an open highway, the Cutlass Supreme carried itself like it knew it was special. Beyond its physical attributes, the 1973 Cutlass Supreme carved out a place in American pop culture and memory. It became a favorite among families who wanted space and style, young drivers who craved cool without compromising comfort, and collectors who could see the potential in its distinct design. Its affordability compared to more exotic muscle cars made it accessible, and that relatability only increased its appeal. It wasn't trying to be something it wasn't, it was confident in its own skin, and that authenticity continues to resonate today. In recent years, the '73 Cutlass Supreme has experienced something of a renaissance in the classic car scene. No longer overshadowed by louder or flashier competitors, it's now appreciated for its unique blend of performance, design, and comfort. Collectors are restoring them, customizing them, and celebrating them. Car shows are beginning to feature them more prominently, and online forums buzz with stories of barn finds, resto mods, and road trips that began behind the wheel of this underrated legend. There's a growing recognition that the Cutlass Supreme isn't just a good car for the money. It's a great car, period. Why does it still turn heads today? Maybe it's the nostalgia, the way it transports people back to a time of simpler pleasures and stylish machines. Maybe it's the boldness of the design, the wide stance and curving lines that look just as fresh today as they did 5 decades ago. Or maybe it's the spirit of the car itself, the quiet confidence, the blend of muscle and grace, the sense that it was always meant to be something more than just a mode of transportation. The 1973 Cutlass Supreme has the kind of timeless cool that can't be forced or faked. It just is. And let's be honest, part of the fun of owning or admiring a car like this is watching people react. The double takes at stoplights, the thumbs up from fellow drivers, the questions at the gas pump. What year is that? Is that a Cutlass? Man, my dad used to have one of those. It sparks memories, starts conversations, and brings people together in a way that few modern cars can. It's not just a car, it's a connector. A rolling piece of history that still knows how to make an entrance. If you're a classic car enthusiast looking for something a little different, something that stands out without screaming for attention, the 1973 Cutlass Supreme might just be your perfect ride. It's got the muscle to make your heart race, the luxury to make your daily drive a pleasure, and the style to make you feel like you're living in a scene from a vintage film. It's a car that deserves its moment in the spotlight, not just for what it was, but for what it still is, an icon of American automotive excellence. As more people rediscover the beauty and brilliance of the '73 Cutlass Supreme, its value continues to rise, not just in dollars, but in respect. It's a car that slipped under the radar for too long, but now that it's getting the love it deserves, it's becoming clear. This isn't just a forgotten muscle car. It's a comeback classic, a collector's dream, and a road-going reminder that style never goes out of fashion. So the next time you see one, whether it's at a car show, cruising down the street, or waiting patiently in a garage, take a moment to really look. Appreciate the curves, the chrome, the craftsmanship. Listen to the low rumble of that V8. Remember that cool doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes, it just needs to be a 1973 Cutlass Supreme. The 1973 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme didn't just roll off the assembly line, it arrived, capturing the imagination of a generation that craved something different from the status quo. At a time when American cars were starting to evolve, the Cutlass Supreme boldly stepped in with a design that felt both retro and forward-thinking. It was a classic with a twist, boasting a style that set it apart from the competition and ensured its place in automotive history. The Cutlass Supreme wasn't trying to imitate anything else on the road. It had its own voice, its own swagger, and it made that clear the moment you laid eyes on it. One of the most striking features of the '73 Cutlass Supreme was its dramatic and athletic profile. The Coke bottle body shape, named for its curvaceous hourglass silhouette, was bold, flowing, and completely unmistakable. It gave the car an aggressive stance, making it look fast even when it was parked. This design was more than a trend. It became a signature style for American muscle and personal luxury cars in the 1970s. The body was long, with pronounced wheel arches and a gently sloping rear that emphasized motion and strength. Every contour seemed purposeful, and every angle added to the overall visual drama. That sleek exterior was complemented by some seriously stylish details. The wide front grille was flanked by quad headlights that gave the Cutlass an unmistakable face, equal parts refined and menacing. Chrome bumpers added flash without going overboard, while the wraparound windshield brought a futuristic edge. Not only did that windshield enhance the car's unique look, but it also offered excellent visibility from behind the wheel. Combined with its wide track and low-slung body, the Cutlass Supreme had an undeniable presence. This wasn't just a car you drove, it was one you wore like a finely tailored suit. Step inside, and the experience shifted from sporty aggression to relaxed elegance. The interior of the '73 Cutlass Supreme was where Oldsmobile flexed its luxury credentials. With a wood-grain dashboard that added a warm, classic touch and plush bucket seats that practically beg you to sink in, this wasn't your typical muscle car interior. It was sophisticated, spacious, and full of thoughtful features that made long drives a pleasure. The dashboard layout was driver-focused, the instrument panel was easy to read, and the overall feel was one of comfort with just the right amount of flash. Whether you were cruising down a coastal highway or stuck in traffic, the Cutlass Supreme made you feel like you were exactly where you needed to be. But for all its visual appeal and interior comfort, the Cutlass Supreme was far more than just a pretty face. Beneath the sculpted hood lay a powertrain that could hold its own against the best of them. Oldsmobile offered several engine options for the 1973 model, but it was the 455 cubic inch, 7.5L, rocket V8 that really turned heads. This beast of a motor pumped out 250 horsepower and massive torque, delivering the kind of smooth yet forceful performance that defined American muscle. Paired with a turbo-hydromatic 350 transmission, a 3-speed automatic known for its reliability and seamless shifts, the Cutlass Supreme offered a ride that was both powerful and refined. What made this powertrain combo truly special was its versatility. Yes, the car could roar to life with just a tap of the throttle, but it also cruised with a smoothness that was rare among its high-powered peers. It was a muscle car that knew how to behave when it needed to. Whether you were hammering down a straightaway or gliding through suburban streets, the Cutlass Supreme felt in control, composed, and completely at home. Driving the 1973 Cutlass Supreme was an experience that went beyond horsepower numbers and acceleration times. It was about the feeling, the way the car handled the road, the connection you felt through the wheel, the subtle growl of the engine as you opened it up. The Cutlass wasn't just fast, it was fun. Its handling was surprisingly nimble for a car of its size, offering a balance between sporty excitement and everyday usability. Thanks to independent front suspension and rear coil springs, the ride was impressively smooth over bumps and rough patches. Combine that with responsive steering and solid braking, and you had a car that could dance when it needed to, graceful in traffic, confident on the highway, and more than capable on a backroad sprint. That blend of style, performance, and comfort has helped the 1973 Cutlass Supreme secure a place in the pantheon of great American cars. And as time has gone on, its reputation has only grown stronger. Today, the '73 Cutlass Supreme is considered a collector's dream. Its rarity, distinctive looks, and mechanical reliability make it one of the most desirable muscle luxury hybrids of its era. Enthusiasts love it because it's unique. It doesn't follow the same path as the more well-known icons, and that's precisely what makes it so special. At car shows, on auction blocks, and in classic car magazines, the Cutlass Supreme is finally getting the respect it always deserved. Market trends reflect this growing appreciation. Values for well-preserved or fully restored '73 Cutlass Supremes have been steadily climbing, and they show no signs of slowing down. For collectors and investors, it's a smart play, an underappreciated gem that's now being recognized for its value. For true enthusiasts, however, the appeal goes beyond money. It's about owning a piece of automotive history, one that stands for a very specific moment in time when style met substance and cars still had personality. Restoring and maintaining a '73 Cutlass Supreme can be a journey in itself, a rewarding one, to be sure, but not without its challenges. Bringing one of these beauties back to life requires dedication, patience, and often, a good network of fellow enthusiasts. Finding the right parts, matching factory specs, and ensuring mechanical integrity takes effort. The payoff, though, is immense. There's something almost magical about turning the key and hearing that rocket V8 come to life, knowing you've brought back a piece of history with your own two hands. Thankfully, There's a strong and growing community of Cutlass lovers out there. Online forums, car clubs, and specialist suppliers make it easier than ever to source parts, find advice, and connect with others who share the same passion. Whether you're doing a full frame-off restoration or simply keeping your weekend cruiser running like a dream, there's support out there to help you keep the legacy alive. And because the Cutlass Supreme was such a popular model in its day, there's still a decent parts supply floating around, though certain trim pieces and interior components might take a bit of hunting. Maintenance is key to preserving that classic charm. Regular oil changes, fluid checks, and keeping the engine tuned will go a long way in ensuring your Cutlass stays roadworthy. Investing in quality parts and doing things the right way, even if it takes longer or costs more, pays off in longevity and performance. These cars were built tough, and with the right care, they'll stay on the road for decades to come. Ultimately, the 1973 Cutlass Supreme is more than just a car, it's a statement. It says something about its owner, that they appreciate design, value craftsmanship, and aren't afraid to drive something a little different. It's a car that has aged gracefully, evolving from a misunderstood outlier to a celebrated classic. It's not trying to be the fastest, the flashiest, or the rarest. It's just itself, and that's more than enough. In a world increasingly dominated by cookie-cutter SUVs and lifeless crossovers, the Cutlass Supreme reminds us of a time when cars had character. When every model had its own flavor, its own rhythm, its own voice. And among those, the 73 Cutlass Supreme spoke with a tone of quiet confidence, cool, collected, and undeniably classy. So if you're lucky enough to own one, you already know the magic. And if you're still dreaming about it, maybe now is the time to make that dream real. Because while trends come and go, true style, the kind that comes wrapped in chrome and powered by a rocket V8, never goes out of fashion. The 1973 Cutlass Supreme isn't just a memory. It's a movement. And it's still turning heads 1 mile at a time. The 1973 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme is more than just a car. It's a legacy of bold design, raw power, and timeless appeal. From its iconic Coke bottle silhouette to the thunderous 455 rocket V8 under the hood, this car captured everything that made American muscle and personal luxury cars unforgettable. It's the kind of machine that doesn't just get you from point A to point B, it turns every drive into a statement. What sets the 73 Cutlass Supreme apart is its perfect balance of form and function. The exterior styling is aggressive yet refined, with sweeping lines and chrome accents that give it presence and attitude. Inside, the car offers the comfort and luxury of a high-end cruiser, with wood-grain dash panels, bucket seats, and thoughtful craftsmanship throughout. But it's when you turn the key and hear that engine rumble to life that you realize, this car wasn't built to be ordinary. It was built to stand out. Driving a Cutlass Supreme is an experience. It's smooth yet responsive, comfortable but ready to unleash its power at a moment's notice. Whether you're cruising down a sun-soaked boulevard or lining up at a stoplight, the car delivers performance and style in equal measure. And even decades after it first hit the streets, it still manages to turn heads and spark conversations. Today, the 1973 Cutlass Supreme has secured its place in the collector's world, not just as a relic of the past, but as a shining example of how cars used to be made, with soul, substance, and unmistakable style. It's a car that connects generations, from seasoned gearheads to younger enthusiasts discovering its charm for the first time. And with values rising and parts still available, it's a smart investment as well as a celebration of American automotive greatness. If you love classic cars that have real character, if you appreciate the fusion of performance and elegance, and if you believe some cars are more than just machines, they're legends, then the 1973 Cutlass Supreme is for you. If you enjoyed this ride through history and design, don't forget to like, share this video with fellow car lovers, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the coolest classics on the road. Got memories of the Cutlass Supreme or stories of your own? Drop them in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and keep driving that classic cool.